Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Regen auf mein Kopf. Hinter der Deckel muss es die kleine Fahrt beim Top. Geht mir kein Sach nicht.
Welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold. I'm your host, Judy Gold. And this week we have a very special guest, a great kid. His name is Jared Armstrong. He has an incredible story. He's a basketball player who is trying to make Aliyah in Israel. And you'll hear all about what that is when you listen. But I had to have this kid on because his story it's really touching and moving, and I want to help him as much as possible. So I do hope it's a one-parter, and I hope you enjoy. He was a delight to have on. Also, I will be at Governor's on Long Island on April 9th. So if you're on Long Island and you want to see the hilarious Judy Gold, go to my website, judygold.com, and get tickets for my upcoming show. But sit back, relax, enjoy. Hey everyone, welcome to Kill Me Now. This is a very special episode of Kill Me Now. As you know, I have a lot of celebrities on the show and people who I admire. But this is a story that is so close to my heart, and this is a person whose story needs to be heard. And as you know, I believe everyone has a story, and this one needs to be told. And I have never met our guest, Jared Armstrong. I found out about him via Twitter, which I fucking hate, by the way, as everyone knows. And another Hillel Jew. This is going to be a big bell ringing. Jared, this is the Jew bell. So anytime I mention anything Jewish, the bell goes off. So this is going to be a lot of bell rings. So everyone, please be prepared. And I don't want to get any mail about the bell. I don't like the bell. Fuck you. Okay, so let me give you a background about the incredible Jared Armstrong. He's from Philly. Jared, like my son Ben, is a basketball player, although he's already out of college. But you are playing in the Maccabee games, Jared, this summer, correct?
No, I was supposed to, but this whole process is just so long,
Yeah. I'm gonna fucking kill them. My son Ben is playing in the Maccabee games 3-on-3, but whatever. You should be playing. So here's Jared's story. Jared is a Jew born to a Jewish mother. And I feel like there's a lot of racism. There's a lot of anti-Semitism going on in this country, and we need to address it. And I'm going to be dedicating some of my podcasts, don't yell at me, to these issues that need to be out front and center. Jared was born to a Jewish mother, had a bris, penis cut. He embodies Judaism on so many levels. He reminds me of my son Ben, except my son Ben is not, it's just such an interesting thing. My son Ben has never had his Judaism questioned. Although he knows way less than Jared Armstrong. So Jared Armstrong wants to become a citizen of Israel. That's number one. Number two is that he would like to play basketball in Israel. That's number two. Number one is that he loves Israel, he loves being Jewish, and he wants to be a citizen. But because Jared Armstrong happens to be Black, African American, whatever you want to call it, he is experiencing unjust, terrible racism from a group of people who should be the last to judge people on the color of their skin or their intentions. So that is why Jared Armstrong is here. And I want to tell you, I really love your story, Jared. You are a Black Jew. And, I just want to say my mother, Ruth Gold, rest in peace. I grew up in a household where my mother said, we're all colors, shapes, and sizes. There were Ethiopian Jew,
Yeah.
But something that struck me, you wrote this amazing article for the JTA. And the one thing that really pushed my buttons was this idea that whites and blacks praying together. I never really thought about that. It doesn't, it's to this day is so quite unusual.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It is the most segregated day in the world. I mean, people don't realize it, but it is. Like Sundays for Christians and Saturdays for Jews. It's the most segregated day in the world. And it probably will never change, unfortunately, but that's just the way it is,
Yeah, but hopefully it will change. So 70 years ago, let's tell your story. 70 years ago, your great aunt, who was a daughter of a Baptist minister.
She was a daughter of a Baptist minister.
What was her name?
Her name was Louise Daly. She ended up creating the synagogue that's there today. It's called Congregation Temple Bethel, but the family she was working for was Jewish and kind of, got adapted to the Torah, and then kind of things just went from there, and then it just grew. So my mom's whole side's Jewish, from Orthodox, Reform. That congregation, there's 6, 7, 8 generations of Judaism, So, I stopped going there once my parents got divorced. So I was between 10, 11 years old. You know how it goes. You go through college, you go through high school, you go through college. You just become more traditional. So for me, I was always taught, you live through your Judaism. You know what I mean? Like how you treat people, how you act, things like that,
Heal the world, Tikkun Olam, right.
So for me, that was the biggest thing. It was, people wouldn't know I was Jewish. And they'd be like, yo, what's your religion? I'd be like, well, I'm Jewish. They'd be like, oh, for real? They give you one of those.
Right.
One of those things, like, what? You seem Jewish.
Jared, no one's ever said that to me. No one's ever said, for real? Okay. So your great aunt decided that she wanted to base her life on the Torah. And so she started, and this is during Jim Crow.
Segregation.
Yeah.
So during segregation, which I had to continuously explain to like the Jewish Agency, all these, people that don't understand the story. I'm like, well, listen, how could she convert officially to anywhere if she wasn't allowed with white people? Like, right. Think about it. She wasn't allowed. So technically, a lot of Jewish people have like, well, she didn't officially convert or, right. But nobody can take away in your heart and soul. I'm a firm believer in that, And till this day, you have people like Michael Oren, consul generals, Jewish senators that all visit the synagogue. She's buried in a Jewish cemetery.
Right.
So somebody accepted her,
Right,
so,
exactly.
It's very unique how you have some Jews that are like, oh, she wasn't Jewish, and you have other Jews that's like a Jew is a Jew is a Jew. So it's just, in our own religion, we have people that's for you or against you, and it's just like very, very unfortunate,
Yeah, it's stupid and sick. So she could not, she could not pray with the white. How was she going to convert when she's not allowed to be in the fucking same room as these white Jews? Okay.
Yeah.
Stupid country. All right. She started this congregation in 1951, which, ladies and gentlemen, is before I was born. Thank you very much. Okay. So in 1951, think of the climate in our country in 1951. This woman starts her own congregation. Now, there's all kinds of Jews. You said some were converts, some were born Jewish, some descended from Jews, some, when you say it was non-denominational, let's explain that, as you know.
So they just view Jewish as Jewish. Like if I was to claim them as something, like what I mean, they're religious. Like on Shabbat, they're there morning till sundown.
Right.
Like lunch break, Torah study, Hebrew school. They're there till sundown. It's not like I'm a part of the conservative movement now. Right. So 9:00, I'm out by 11. I'm going to grab some lunch.
What? 11? Ours was till 1 in the after. Like ours was like 9:30 to 1. You are whatever I'm going to where you go. Okay, go ahead.
So, once the world kind of changed, I think she just didn't want to, in my personal opinion, I think she didn't really care because she knew who she was. Right. You know what I mean? I was really doing it for the satisfactory part of anybody else's feelings or thoughts or beliefs. Right. It was just, she created it. This was her opinion. Now, there's people there now, from what I've been told, that may convert, officially, but they're still part of that synagogue. You know what I mean? Right. No big deal to them because who knows if they're trying to come to Israel. So if they're not trying to come to Israel, who are they trying to prove their Judaism to? That's the biggest thing between America and Israel. Is like, if I tell you I'm Jewish, you're not going to be like, oh, where your paperwork? Right. You're just going to be like, all right, Jewish. Like, okay, great. Like, Shabbat one day. Or, hopefully I see you in my shul. But I think that's the biggest misconception is like to Israel is like you need all this paperwork and requirement, but for America, they don't care. To prove. Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, you understand where that paranoia comes from. But for sure, when someone provides all of this information and you keep questioning them, it's really bad for the Jews. It's bad for the Jews. So let's talk about how you grew up. You're in Philly. You're an athlete. Your mother's Jewish. Your parents how old were they? How old were you when your parents got divorced? So I was around 10, 11. So crazy part, my mom was in Philly when I was born. Both my parents are from Philly. And then my dad was in the Navy for 23 years. So he was actually living at Maryland at the time. So like my first 10, 11 years, I was living in Maryland. Saturdays, I was not able to play basketball. Like I'm in the shul all day. Wow.
So I am a shitty mother. I think that we should everyone. So your mother was very observant.
She was very observant when I got younger.
Kosher?
I think no, I would say yes and no. Like I didn't eat pork. Right. I didn't eat pork or crab, anything like that. Right. But, I had spaghetti before, like, things like that, but lasagna. But, for me, I think the biggest thing for her was like, she wanted us to be, familiar. Because when she grew up, she got teased. My mother's 62. Like when she grew up, she got teased for being Jewish, not being able to go outside Friday nights. She had to go on Shabbat. And, everybody in her neighborhood was Christian or Muslim. So to everybody, she was a weirdo. So eventually, as it goes as a mother, your kid eventually has to play basketball on Saturdays if they want to get a scholarship to school.
Yes.
So as I got older and as the divorce went on, she kind of started letting me play. We kind of my grandma's very religious too, very religious. So we would just keep Shabbat at her house. We really wouldn't just go to the shul, and my grandma would have her own service, and pretty much that was it. But for the most part, as I got older, you know how it goes. You get more secular and,
of course.
More traditional.
Right. Look, I'm a comic and there are Orthodox Jewish comics. And let me tell you, not working on a Friday night is really hard. It's hard to make a living. Yeah. For sure. But some comics do it. And I know a lot of these Jewish comics who cheat. So no one's perfect. But yes, I totally understand that. So you're growing up in this neighborhood, you're playing basketball. Like, what is it like to say to people, I'm a Jew, especially people in the Black and African-American community? Like what's their reaction? They're probably like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. So most of them are saying that, or like, for real? Like, you Jewish? Like, no way. You know what I mean? Like, dang. For me, I'm not a person that carries my religion on my shoulder. Right. So for a lot of people, when they're surprised by maybe the way I act, or I don't perceive or look like a Jew. So that's why they're so surprised. But it was difficult for me, especially like college road trips, pepperoni pizza. I can't eat that, or
right.
food like that. It was hard for Justin, and that's when the reason
it's same
come
with
out like
with Muslim players, same thing. They can't eat it too. Yeah.
Like they would ask me, why don't you eat pork? I'm like, I'm Jewish. Like I don't touch pork. Like, you're Jewish. Like, come on, bro. Like, I have a pepperoni pizza. Like, stop BSing me. So it was very unique for sure.
Now, Jared, my son Ben plays for Trinity. He played at Tulane 1 year, and then he transferred to D3 because he did not enjoy D1. And the other, I have not mentioned this, but he was in a game a few weeks ago, and the fans at a school in Maine, a Division III school in Maine, the fans, not the team, called him a little Jewish fuck. Now, first of all, he's not little.
Yeah.
But he can be a Jewish fuck, as his mother. No, I'm just saying. So he experienced this anti-Semitism, and after the game, I was it was streaming, and I was watching him.
Yeah.
When how at the end you're like, good game.
Yeah.
I saw him speak to the coach of the other team. So I called, I said, what was that about? And he told me, and I was, this is probably one of his first bouts with overt anti-Semitism. But I mean, he's dealt with I'm a lesbian. He's dealt with like gay parents and people saying fag and all this other horrible stuff. And he's dealt with that. I mean, I can't imagine the racism that I don't know what it's like. And all to be a black person, to be walk in a room or walk in a store or walk down the street or get in a subway and just immediate, I don't know what that's like. I never will. I can only empathize. I mean, I can't even empathize. I can sympathize. I can try to be as aware as I'm sure you experience racism. Can you talk about the racism? And if you heard a lot of anti-Semitism from people who didn't realize you were Jewish?
I mean, so racism was big. I experienced, so growing up, I went to private school. My parents was big on education.
Right.
So
very Jewish.
I'm with no offense. Yeah, I'm with a lot of rich kids, come from wealthy parents. My first time was in 5th grade. We're coming in from recess, and I go to like where they at, standing at, and they're like, damn, it just got real dark in the room. So for me, it wasn't like at first it didn't hit me. And then it hit me. I kind of went to the bathroom. I started crying. And then the teacher, who was really big on racism, made them all write letters. So they all had to write letters saying, I'm sorry, Jared, I apologize. So that was good on her part. That was like my first experience with, pure racism. And then obviously as you get older, I experience it all the time, from police brutality. Like I was driving in a car. It was before my teammates. And I might have been going fast, but I noticed the cop was behind me. So I slowed down. The cop followed me for a good 4 or 5 miles. He pulls me over. So he pulls me over. He's like, get out the car. Now, you know how cops are. They're like, I don't smoke. So he's like, we suspect marijuana, right? So he searches the car. Nothing's in the car. He's like, we got to arrest you. I'm like, what? You got to arrest me? What? So he puts me in handcuffs.
Oh, my God. How old are you?
I'm like 22, 21, 22.
Yeah.
So he put me in handcuffs. So on the whole ride there, he's like, just tell me you were smoking weed. Like, you're in the car with the camera. He's like, just tell me you were smoking weed. I'm like, listen, man, I don't smoke. Like, you wasting your time pressuring me. I don't smoke. So we go to the...
Are you scared? Are you scared at this point? Or do you feel like your life's in... Yeah.
I'm scared because I'm in a redneck community. My school was like in the middle between Redneckville and Pittsburgh.
Right.
So I go and we have to blow in the breathalyzer. So I blow in the breathalyzer. They're doing all these tests.
Right.
Like, he's like, your pupils are going too far left. I'm like, dude, what? Like, you gotta make sense. So eventually he's like, we got to go to the hospital. If you don't want to go to the hospital, this is an automatic DUI. I'm like, listen, let's go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So we go to the hospital. They take your blood to see, if you've been smoking or not.
Oh my God, you fucking didn't even do anything. Okay, go ahead.
So 6 months later, They didn't even have the audacity to call me. My mom, who's very advocate about racism and things, she calls them. It's like, listen, what's up? Like, you got the results. The dude was like, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I dropped the speeding ticket because Jared wasn't, have any drugs in his system. So my mom's like, this is only verbal. I want this in writing. You know how moms are.
Right.
So she got it in writing and he dropped the case. But that was my first serious attempt at racism, because it was like, come on, man, like, you really doing this because I'm Black. You're searching for something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that
of
was
course.
Really
always.
for me.
Not always, but 99.9.
Anti-Semitism.
Yeah.
Anti-Semitism. I have had friends that for sure, be called dirty Jews, or you're a fake Jew, or like your grandmother should have died, like things like that. I mean, I think it's just pure ignorance,
Right.
People have hatred in their heart, and it's very sad and unfortunate. Like, to this day, like, my mom doesn't wear her Star of David, doesn't wear it, just for like the reason of anti-Semitism.
Right.
Like, has plenty of them, but like, I was like, Mom, I'm going to Israel. She's like, nah, don't wear it. She's like, just wear it in your heart, not on your shoulders.
That's so awful. Yeah. I mean, we were in Sweden, my girlfriend, Elisa, and I, and they told us, I would put that away. But my son, Ben, proudly wears it.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Okay, so let's fast forward. And I want to make sure this is something I really want to talk about. And something that I know that Tikkun Olam, a lot of people don't know what that is if you're not a Jew. It's heal the world. And that's really the basic tenet of Judaism, healing the world, helping others, making the world a better place. So you want to work bringing the Jewish and Black community together. Because
Sure.
I believe, we're so similar. We're so better together. Let's just admit, we're the most talented. We're the smartest.
Yeah, for sure.
We're the most artistic. We're very special people. But so you there's this thing a lot of people don't know called making Aliyah, which is when Jews say to someone, oh, he made Aliyah, that means they went to Israel, the homeland, the originator of where we, lived. And, you went back to your homeland.
Yeah. So
you feel very Jewy because you are a Jew and you want to make Aliyah. You're a member of Congregation Beth Shalom, which is Rabbi Michael Beals, who is like Biden's rabbi. I have to just ring the bell because I'm going to forget. Those are for future things that I forget. But you were raised as a Jew, obviously. You know so much about Judaism. So you want to not only play basketball for, is it Hapoel Haifa?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where you already had played. Because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people go to play basketball in Israel, which I hope my son does. But
I hope he does too, for sure. Beautiful country.
I want him to play with you, Jared. What are you a forward? What position are you?
I'm small. You might be taller than me. I'm 5'9" on a good day.
Oh, first of all, I am way fucking taller than you, Jared. Ben is 6'7". Woo! So you're a point guard, correct?
Yeah, point guard.
Okay.
Yep.
So you want to make Aliyah, which for most Jews, like who were born Jewish, like yourself, it's nothing. It's like, hi, I'm applying, but done. You, because there is racism within the Jewish community, there is paranoia in Israel about what are your intentions. Oh, you're only converting to play basketball, but you have given them documents. You went through, a lot of people don't know. Can you tell people how hard it is? Because you went, even though you were born a Jew, you had to go through another conversion.
Yeah.
Can you tell people how hard it is and how much fucking work it is to convert?
Yeah. So I mean, all the problems came once I started applying. Like I said, my family believes, if you're a Jew, you're a Jew. Like we don't. If you're Orthodox, you're still Jewish. If you're conservative, you're still Jewish.
Right. So can I just add something to that right now, and then I'm going to let you talk. Hitler did not say, "Oh, wait, you're not kosher. Okay, you can go home." No, that never happened. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you're an atheist? Okay, have fun, have a nice life. No, that didn't happen. So all right, just want to add that in. Go ahead. Jared.
Yeah. So basically, prior to applying for Aliyah, my aunt lives across the street from Congregation Beth Shalom, and she's a member there. So I had a previous relationship. I think a lot of people think you found Joe Biden's rabbi. And you just
shut the fuck up.
I
no. Hate everyone, Jared. So,
yeah. Basically, I showed them a lot of proof, my mother's conversion, and they're like, oh, it doesn't have 3 rabbis, so it's not official. I showed them my grandmother's, dedication to Judaism and things like that. My aunt in the Jewish cemetery.
Right.
I had all documents and proofs. And they're like, oh, if it's not your grandmother or your grandfather, it doesn't matter. So I'm like, okay, I'll make things official to satisfy your needs. And the process was 9 months, 9 months, and then you have to do 9 months of community service. But obviously it was during a pandemic, so everything was over Zoom.
And it's a lot of studying and learning and learning and studying and learning and teaching and learning and studying. All right, go ahead.
So basically, I went into the mikveh in person. I had a Beit Din. So that was all in person. And then pretty much after that, community involvement. So I did an Aliyah to the Torah as an adult. And for a lot of the, duration.
What was that like? Well, I mean, I remember I had a bat mitzvah, but it was just on Friday night and we read a Haftorah. This Torah wasn't out because women, there's a whole, but then as an adult, I read out of the Torah. It is
hard,
isn't it? It's hard, but you just feel so connected. You know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, for me, it was crazy because I just went to the shul just for Shabbat.
Right.
And he called me up. He's like, oh, we're going to do it today. I'm like, Rabbi, I ain't even practiced. About to make me look. And I ended up doing it because I remember Hebrew, verbally. I can say Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. That's the easy part. It's just the rest of the words that get a little tricky. So, long story short, I did the process, and then I applied through the Jewish agency. I went on Birthright.
Yes, this is great. They allowed you to go on Birthright, of course.
Yeah. So I went on Birthright. And then 2 days, this is 2 days, I'm in Israel, no lie. 2 days before I'm going to the Mishra Hapanim, I get a phone call like, hey, Jared, the Jewish agency doesn't want to approve your file because you did the thing over Zoom. We think it's kind of dumb, but...
You! Could I just yell out? I'm on the Upper West Side. Fuck you! Okay. A lot of Jews heard that, by the way. Go ahead.
Long story short, I ended up going to the Ministry of Interior, which is a lot. And they denied me twice. And then now I'm still in Israel fighting for it. But it's just been a long process. I mean, like I said, I've been told on my denial letter, oh, you're just a Hebrew Israelite. Oh, you just want to
you. Who the fuck are you?
So it's just a lot of things that I'm fighting for me. I'm fighting for just not myself, but I've heard of so many stories, through this process, and I have so much unconditional support from people that have told me, it took me 3 years or it took me 5 years, and it's just so unfortunate, for not only myself but the conservative movement, the respect they don't get or deserve, especially the reform movement. So it's just it's bigger than me. That's why I'm fighting, because it's bigger than my cause.
Right.
And just me wanting to play football. So, I hope it opened the doors for a lot of other people, and, that they get the motivation from me, like Jared didn't quit. I'm not going to quit, So
yeah, a lot of people don't realize it's hard to be a Jew. It's hard to be born a Jew because then you have all that mishigas, as you know. Even born a Jew, it's hard to be, have all these genetic, because come on, a lot of inbreeding. Let's go. We're not, I mean, we are attractive, some of us, but there's a lot of neurotic crap going on. Anyway, but it's hard to be born a Jew and then have to prove you're Jew. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. Okay. Can you talk about, I love the way you talk about Israel, that you went to Israel, which, as Noah Tishby, who wrote a book called Israel, the Most Misunderstood Country on Earth. When you got there, were you surprised? You talk about your being there and what an incredible experience it was. Is there any?
Number one, when I got off the plane, it was hot, like hot. That's the first thing, like not Cali hot, not Miami in the summer on South Beach hot, like hot.
Right.
And jet lag for like 4 days. This is my first time being overseas. So I was like, done.
Yeah,
like,
it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, I've never been out the country. So it was a big adjustment. I feel like culturally, it's not a just because a lot of people speak English, but the mentality is so different. There's no such thing as excuse or I'm sorry. It's like, oh, I bumped you up going. Like, I'm so, who cares, So that was the biggest adjustment for me is like the mentality. It's a green light, beep. It's no
right. Yeah, impatient.
So,
yeah.
I would say it's a beautiful country. I loved everything from the Dead Sea, to Tel Aviv's like New York. Reminds you just
I know,
home.
right?
But like for me, it's a great place because you have, so many people from so many different places that come here. You got Jews from Russia, you got Jews from Ukraine, you got Jews from everywhere that are able to come here and connect, especially for the business world.
That's what people don't understand. There's Arabs there. There's Arabs in the Knesset. They're part of the of what we would consider Congress. But as you know, you have Israel on your passport. You can't go to so many other countries in the Middle East. Did you experience racism in Israel? Because there is racism in Israel.
Yeah. So I would say it was a bit of racism because I was on a scooter. And you know how it is in New York. It's, you scooter anywhere. And the cop just pulls me over like, oh, give you a ticket. I'm like, for what? So that was my first experience. Other than that, I wouldn't say it's racism. I think for me, it's more so ignorance. Like, I think kids don't see enough Black people here. So when they see you, it's like, oh my God, like I see one.
Right.
Stare at me down the street, things like that, and it's just like, are you okay? So I think just the diversity aspect is the ignorance part, and I wouldn't really call it a lot of racism, more so ignorance and just not knowing. Like,
and also curiosity. I think there's some bit of that.
Because even here, I tell people I'm Jewish. Like, for real? You're Jewish? How?
Right.
I'm like, bro, like I'm not about
it's
to do
just
this
so
story.
Fucking annoying. And there's so many Jews who are like, oh, you're a convert? Oh, and it's like, first of all, you're judging someone for converting, wanting to be a Jew, and you don't do anything fucking Jewish. Just shut the fuck up, Oh, I hate everyone. You said, aside from basketball, which is the reason Israel is saying, oh, you just want to come play basketball. Shut up. Shut up. Or as we say, Sheket Bavakasha. I'm yelling it to the Upper West Side. You want to apply to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to help bridge the gap between Israel and Black America, which I just want to hug you right now. When you talk about Tikkun Olam, that is so beautiful.
Yeah. I think it's a big misconception block. Just if you do read history or you understand history, like a lot of Jews supported Black people during civil rights movement. Martin Luther King and Rabbi Dresser, like a lot of people supported each other because we were basically considered racist and were minorities. You know, people didn't want to see us succeed or win. So I think during that time, that was the connection. But for some reason, I think nowadays it's like, oh, you're black? Oh, I can't bang with you. Or you're Jewish? I can't. You know, and some reason I don't really know why, that they don't get along, you know, like, I think it just really just comes from, you know, ignorance, to be honest, or not wanting to know, or not wanting to break the cycle. You know what I mean? Or like, I ain't got to deal with them. Like, you know, I think we all should be wanting to benefit, especially as us. We're both minorities. You know what I mean? We both receive racism or ignorance in certain type of ways on a regular basis, you know, so why not, you know, be together, you know?
I believe that we would be so much more powerful together, that it's such a threat that it is perpetuated by these fucking white fucks. I have a really good vocabulary, Jared. But yes, I think it's something that is deliberate. I read this, Sidney Poitier died, and he told this story about, you know, he didn't know how to read. He was illiterate, and he worked in a restaurant, and there was a guy working in the restaurant who every night, you know, he figured out that Sidney couldn't read. And this was on CBS This Morning, CBS Sunday Morning, which is one of my favorite shows because I'm old. But there was this guy at the restaurant who figured out he couldn't read, and he stayed there after his shift every night and taught Sidney how to read. There is such a bond. I feel such a bond. Yeah. I hate the ignorance that, you know, Jews died in Alabama during the, you know, civil rights. We helped start the NAACP. Yeah. We should be unified. It's an interesting thing because, you know, I think there's so much resentment. The Jews came here because we've been kicked out of every fucking country. The blacks came here we're forced to come here. We came here with nothing, but people just took you out of your, you know, they were forced here and weren't even considered a full person. So, you know, we've come from different, we came here from different, you know, whatever, roots, whatever you want to say. This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and you know, sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, you know, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Judy Gold. You're welcome. Your goal, Jared. What do you want? And also, FYI, I want you to come to New York and we have to have Shabbat dinner together. And I want to bring you to my synagogue. But Jew. But what do you need? What do you want? And how can people help you?
I mean, for real, the only thing I really want is just be able to start my life, to be honest. Like for the last 2 years, I think for everybody, Corona just hit people differently.
Yeah.
I think the perfect outlet for me to be able to come towards Israel then, but I had to convert then just to, prove my Judaism, unfortunately. But I started a business.
What's the business?
It's called Who Would Have Thought? So my business is basically a model of if somebody has expectations for you, basically prove them wrong. You know how that saying like, damn, who would have thought Judy Gold would be a comedian?
Right.
And it's like, you proved them wrong, or you
right.
the expectations.
I love that.
That someone had put upon you or whatever, whoever. So I started that business. I did really well. And I still do the business.
It's called Who Would Have Thought? Okay.
And then basically that was during my conversion. And then I came to Israel in August on birthright, and then kind of my life's been in staying still since. So my only thing is I just want to be able to start my life. Obviously basketball is my profession of making money. So, and then basically on my side, I'm big into business and being able to help people, help others. I love connecting people, like being able to connect, like, yeah, I just met this person. This be a good person, or I saw this job opportunity. So, I mean, for people to help, it's really just sharing my story. That's really the only thing. For a lot of people that have helped, they have obviously connections inside the government or the ministry or things like that. But the biggest thing for me is I think people get the misconception, like, I'm not trying to become famous off this. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get my citizenship. I'm just trying to bring my story to light, and that's it. Like
I can totally tell that. I can totally tell that.
The rest is commentary. So
are you in Israel now?
Yeah, so I'm staying in Tel Aviv right now. My apartment is like a box, so I'm here
join the club. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm here. Basically, I'm trying to fight until this done. I have some time till my visa's up.
Well, how long do you have?
My visa's not up till like April 20th or something. So I'm making some progress.
I want to get this done, and I want to. I want you to be there in July. If it goes through, will you be able to play in the Maccabee games?
So I'm not sure. So he's what, under 20? What age is he playing?
20. He's 20.
Yeah. See, I'm older, so I might be with the senior team if I was to play, because they talked to me before, the representatives they have in Philly, but I'm just taking it day by day. I haven't played a game in almost 4 or 5 months. So
wow, that sucks.
Any type of summer event that I can play in, I would love to do. But I'm just trying to take one step at a time. First thing is kind of just get this weight off my shoulders and being able to just focus on basketball and life and family. I mean, I've been away from home for a while, so
God, you must miss everyone. Have you made a lot of friends there?
So I made a lot of friends, and I made a lot through this process. I made a lot of connections. Obviously, somebody like you, I met a lot of Jewish millionaires, billionaires.
Right. Well, that wouldn't be me, but go ahead.
People that just want to help. That apply that. Want to better Israel, better the world. And that fight injustice. I think the biggest issue that I have seen is the people that have the voice to help don't. And I think that's wrong, because for anybody, no country is perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
So you got to call out faults as you call out the promotions. Don't just promote Israel. Israel has problems just like anybody else.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest issue that I've come upon, is like that, or the people that don't want, I wouldn't even care about the support, or, I have people that mess with me, you're not Jewish, or things. It's just ignorance.
Right.
It's just like that. It's like a turnoff, like you're supposed to be welcoming Jews into the country, especially all this anti-Semitism happening in the world. You should be opening your arms, instead you're not Jewish, or you just want to come here for basketball. Like, it's very.
Shut up. I know.
It's become a turn off.
Israel is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they do contribute a lot to the world
For sure.
at large. Clean water, a lot of medical advances, a lot of technological advances. There's a lot of young people who are like, oh, I hate Israel. They're an apartheid state, which they're not. What would you say to all these anti-Israel? You know, it's interesting because, you know, there's this war in Russia and in Ukraine, and everyone's on board, you know, sanctions. And the squad is for sanctions, but they're also for sanctions for Israel, who's not, you know, it's what would you say? Because I really believe if you went to Israel and you saw there's a gay pride parade. Israel's not perfect. There's a gay pride parade in Tel Aviv. Women are equal. You know, they allow people from other countries, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And yes, Netanyahu, whatever. But, and just as we had Trump, and just as we had who people love because, oh, he's pro-Israel. He doesn't give a shit. He only cares about himself. But what would you say to people who are, you know, around your age and are like, oh no, BTS. Yeah.
I think for anything in life, you got to be able to see it to experience. You know, I think a lot of people look at social media, they look at Twitter, Instagram, and they, you know, read things without seeing it with their own eyes. I think it comes to a lot with like my story and my, you know, experience here is like people look at me or, you know, they look at anybody and they just prejudge. I think for Israel, it's definitely a country that you have to see and experience for yourself because it's very Americanized, in my experience, to a lot of other countries. I have friends that play in Italy, Spain, and, you know, the language barrier is very similar to home. The hip hop to the culture is very similar to home. You know, they have a American way, if I can put it in a sense, where, you know, they want to be like Americans. You know, I have some people that come to me like, you know, that's here, like, you leaving America? Like, that's where I'm trying to go.
Right.
Like, get married? So it's like, I think my biggest thing is you have to experience to see it. You know, I think it's a lot of historical sites, you know, that people can at least,
please,
you know,
yes,
emotionally and spiritually can see, and that I think they would enjoy. Jerusalem, you know, from Nazareth. And I think it's a very unique place because you can get everything you want. You know, if you want to be spiritual, you go to Jerusalem.
Right.
You want to be turned up and lively city, don't sleep, you can go to Tel Aviv. You know, if you want to be nowhere or get a mix of both, you can go to Haifa. You know, so I think you get everything you want here. It's just if you're willing to come and experience it for yourself.
Jared, I hope I see you when I go there, and I hope if you have to come back, you'll come visit me and we can hang out.
No, I'll look forward to coming to Shabbat dinner.
Yeah, baby. Two things. First of all, I ask all my guests 2 questions that I'm going to ask you. Okay. But before we do that, I want people to learn about you. So where do we find you? You're on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, but I don't really use it much. So Twitter and Instagram. Oh,
really? It's so fun, Facebook. Yeah. Fucking Facebook.
So those are my two main.
And it's at Jared Armstrong.
So yeah, Twitter is at Jared Armstrong with the _, and then Instagram is _ Jared Armstrong.
Wait, at Jared Armstrong, where's the _?
Underscore is last on Twitter and is first on Instagram.
All right. Please follow him. Please, you fuckheads. Okay. Here's my question. Number 1, what do you do? We're very pro mental health. What do you do for your mental health?
Oh, I would say work out. I do a lot of yoga. Yoga is a big thing for me. I'm not a chill on the beach guy, even though I'm in Tel Aviv. Right. I would say yoga probably walks, to be honest, and working out. I mean, and being able to vent to your close friends. I think that's a big mental health thing for me too. Other than that, I'm very private person. So
you're so cute.
It's tough. You know, it depends on my mood and what I want to do.
Right. You are going to be the best husband. Like if I had a daughter, oh my God. Oh, you're
So
all right.
is he you only have one kid?
I have two sons, Ben and Henry.
Okay. They both play or Ben?
Well, no, just Ben. Henry did play, and then he went the route of being in a frat.
Okay.
He majored in and he went to IU and majored in, pot, alcohol, women. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But he loves sports. Like he's great. So, okay, that's question number one. Now, the podcast is called Kill Me Now because I say that about 100 times a day because everyone gets on my fucking nerves and everything gets on my nerves, especially like inequality and injustice fucking pisses me off and dumb people. So what pisses you off more than anything in the entire world?
Ignorance and people that don't want to learn. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yes. Like, no curiosity. Yeah.
Curiosity. They're just plain Jane. They stick to their ways and they have their thoughts and processes. And it's like, you have no idea what's on the left side of the room because you only stay on the right. So it's just, that's the two things that piss me off. And then like people that prejudged, without wanting to learn you without, questioning or asking, just being able to have a conversation. I think that pisses me off too. Like somebody that can't hold a conversation. Like, are you that?
Oh, please. There's like, more and more people like that because they're fucking staring at their phones.
Yeah, so it's a lot of things that piss me off. But people with not high IQs when it comes to basketball, that pisses me off. Yeah, so it's a lot.
Well, Jared, I love you. I want to meet your mother, because she's older than me, by 3 years, and I love your story, and I know you are going to change the world. You are going to change this world. You are a fucking, I don't even know what to say. I think you're great. And I keep doing what you're doing and you're going to get citizenship because fuck it. If I go there and scream in the middle of the Knesset, you motherfuckers.
When is
you're
your
a
next
delight.
show?
Well, when you, I'm going to give you my email and we can hang out and talk. I mean, hang out on email, whatever. But I'm coming there in July and I think I'm going to do a little stand up while I'm there. But if you come back in April, you're coming to my show.
So it's small world. My brother is a big time manager in LA. So
I heard. That's the only reason I have you on. I know. What is that about?
Yeah, so he runs Cultivate Entertainment. So I don't know if you watch AMC, but he just produced a big show. I want to say it's called Dead Seas. And then you know the podcast All the Smoke with Matt Barnes and Steve Jackson? That my brother started that podcast. And then he has, actors and actresses. He just shot a movie called Holiday Chance.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's doing good things out there.
Yeah, but if I was the mother, you would be my favorite. What's your mother's name?
Everybody calls her LB. Her first name is kind of hard to pronounce. It's Llewellyn.
Llewellyn? All right, LB.
Yeah.
I know, in LB, I know there's no favorites, but come on. Thank you so much for listening to my interview with Jared Armstrong. I hope you were as moved and want to follow him, and just he's a great kid, and I think his story really needs to be told. So I really do hope you enjoyed it. I do things out of the box every now and then because I'm a very original person. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel. It is edited by Colin Schmaling. Every social media, everything else about this podcast and my life is thanks to Brittany Jo Sowards. If you like the podcast, which I don't know how you can, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast and left a review, I really need you to do that, okay? Because it helps me. It helps other people find the podcast, and it helps me keep the podcast on the air. If you live in Long Island, I'm going to be at Governor's. I'm looking up right now which Governor's room I'm at because you know what? I can't, it's very difficult. The multitasking and trying to figure out, because Governor's has a lot of different rooms. Governor's Comedy Club. I'm doing this real time. And I've noticed, I just want you to know, a lot of people have been writing to me to say they listened to the end and I love you. I love you. Wait, I I think it's in Levittown. Yeah, it's in Levittown. The main room is in Levittown. I'm going to be in Levittown, Long Island on April 9th. And I am going to now look up the people who listen to the end so I can say hi to them because I love you. I love you for listening to the end. I'm on Instagram. I hate Instagram. I mean, like, I hate going on there and then you get sucked into the vortex. Don't you get sucked into the vortex? And then you're like, oh my God, why isn't my life like that? Why aren't I, like, I want clothes like that. And I like, and it's just fucking annoying. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm trying to find these messages of people who listen to the end and I can't find any. But I'm going to do that next week. I'm going to actually look that up and see if I can find any messages from people. Send me a message. Okay, send me a message that you listen to the end. And then I'm going to mention your name because I love you. I love Katanja Brown Jackson. I fucking hate those motherfuckers. The way they treated her, like, disgusting. I am so... How fucking angry are you? Also, I feel for Ukraine. I just can't believe this is still going on. I don't know what else. The weather, you know what I mean? Cold, hot, hot, cold, cold, hot. It's annoying me too. Everything's annoying me. So that's why the podcast is called Kill Me Now. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I cannot thank you enough. To the end. I'm going to start doing shit at the end just for my people who listen to the end. But don't tell the other people. You know what I'm saying? It's just our little secret. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, now I'm going on Twitter while you're on, and and I just put it in as Twitter, Twiiter. Okay, let's see if I have any messages from people who's, let's see. Nope, I don't have any messages. Okay, so if you're listening, I love you so much. Please know that. We have a lot of great guests coming up. You know, that's it. Be well, be safe, be kind. Be kind. You can still be a bitch and be kind, by the way. You can be a good person and be like me, like annoyed at everything. And as we always say, so long. Ga, 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 ga.